Well, good morning, everyone. Well, imagine looking back at Earth from the far side of the moon, a small blue planet hanging in the blackness of space. Well, on April 1st of this year, the 4 astronauts of NASA's Artemis 2 mission flew deeper into space than any human had gone before. And as the rocket ship carried them, they went to the far side of the moon. And because the moon rotates at the same speed as it revolves around the Earth, its far side is always facing away from our planet. And only the Artemis and Apollo astronauts have ever gazed directly at that surface. This was the first crewed flight to orbit the moon since Apollo 17 back in 1972. Commander Reed Weissman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen are the first astronauts in 50 years to travel so far from the Earth's orbit. And I was really surprised to learn this fact. So, the International Space Station, that orbits at about 250 nautical miles up. But Artemis 2 soared roughly 250,000 miles, 1,000 times further. Traveling at 25,000 miles per hour, they pierced the dark with human courage. Now, when my daughter Alyssa was very young, she's now in her 40s, she was infatuated with space and with NASA. And she loved rockets, and she loved her space books, and she treasured her giant Lego set of the space shuttle. And back then, she really wanted to be an astronaut. But she changed her mind when she learned about the black hole, which is formed when a star runs out of fuel and collapses into a very small space, and where the gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape. Now, this picture was taken by Voyager 1. And Voyager 1 was a NASA robotic space probe that launched in 1977. And in 1990, 13 years after its launch, this image was taken. And there in the middle of the screen, you can see a teeny tiny dot. And that tiny speck is the Earth. This picture was taken about 3.7 billion miles from Earth. I just find it so hard to conceptualize how far 3.7 billion miles is. Well, Carl Sagan, the American astrophysicist and astronomer, reflected on this image, and he called it the pale blue dot. And this is what he wrote about it. That fragile speck of the Earth in the vastness of space should humble human vanity, diminish our petty quarrels, and remind us of our shared responsibility to care for this single, vulnerable world and for one another. Well, his words are a reminder that our lives and our cultures and our futures are all woven together on this tiny planet. And it's our ethical duty to take care of the Earth for the survival of future generations. Acting with humility and cooperation, not division, is the only way to preserve this pale blue dot. Christina Koch, the U.S. astronaut on Artemis 2, she described her experience as, you don't see borders, you don't see religious lines, you don't see political boundaries. All you see is Earth, and you see that we're way more alike than we are different. And that's just such a simple truth. The divisions we argue over vanish, and what remains is our shared home. How pointless are these many conflicts and barriers that we're facing today? It's a reminder to treat each other with more cooperation and care and humility, because we literally share the same fragile planet. Well, last week I was at a rally in Eden Prairie, and there was somebody there sitting at a desk writing poetry on an old-fashioned typewriter. And you just gave him a word, and in 5 minutes he'd create a poem. And so I gave him the word humanity, and this is what he wrote for me. Humanity. This morning I took a dive in the prehistoric age, watching as cosmic plaza oozed out of primordial muck and bloomed slowly to life. It was beautiful, but also cold and vicious. Cells dividing, colors exploding, green feasting on deeper green. Each mouth a weapon, and each weapon one in an endless chain. Eventually, the humans came along, cultivating the earth, learning to live and thrive. This experience called humanity, finding its purchase in laws and cathedrals, music and games. And if I don't look too closely, I can convince myself that it's still okay and it still works. So this poem may be a little hard to understand, but this is what I think it means. That life's been growing from the universe to people. And it says that growth is both amazing and harsh. And nature is beautiful, but all of nature is fighting for survival. And as humans arrive to cultivate the earth, while not perfect, it still works. There is hope for the world, and there's hope for humanity. I try to imagine what it's like to be up there in space, to look upon that blue marble in the sky, where everyone you know and everything you own and every place you've ever traveled to and everything about your existence and all of humanity you've left behind, and you're looking back on it. That experience has to leave one changed and humbled to actually see the oneness of the universe. And seeing Earth as a single fragile home naturally leads us to reflections on spiritual oneness and compassion, which is central to Buddhist understanding. Oneness is often named in our tradition as Amida Buddha. The mythic story of Amida Buddha and the bejeweled descriptions of the Pure Land from the sutras, which were written in ancient times. They use many descriptive words to convey the indescribable message of oneness, or of ultimate truth, or ultimate reality, or as Reverend Akahoshi describes it as, life energy. And I really like that description. Amida Buddha, or oneness, is described as boundless compassion and infinite white light, as being colorless and formless and immeasurable. The image of Amida Buddha symbolically describes the activity of ultimate truth, the truth that draws us near and presents itself to us Bombu, us foolish beings who are filled with delusion. Amida as ultimate reality, as oneness, a symbol of the realm of the ultimate experience of enlightenment, which Gautama Buddha himself attained, and to which we all aspire to attain. Thus, Amida Buddha represents that which illuminates and nurtures all people and all living things across infinite space and infinite time. This inconceivable power of Amida is something we experience in our everyday lives. We are called to awaken, to self-reflect, transform how we think and how we speak and how we act, to listen to the teachings, and to find the realization of Shinjin, that mental and spiritual transformation that takes place in this present life. In Shinran's thought, Shinjin is the experience of awakening, which means that one encounters the Buddha and hears the Buddha's calling voice. And Shinran teaches us the assurance that I am already and always embraced within the workings of Amida's oneness. We are called to awaken, to feel a deeper sense of oneness within others, and to empathize with the suffering of others and to contribute to others' happiness. and understanding that our interconnectedness brings about compassion and that all life is impermanent and ever-changing. As I gaze into the sky and realize the vastness of space, I'm in awe of all around me and grateful that I'm a part of this ceaseless working of wisdom and compassion that embraces all beings, and that due to all the causes and conditions of the world, I can exist today. I honor the bravery of those astronauts who risked themselves to widen our view, and I live with gratitude and hope that this world can be a place for all of us to share. So may we all awaken to the truth, and may the view of our pale blue dot soften our hearts and deepen our care for one another, and let us all live in oneness. Namo me doubts. Namo me doubts. Namo me doubts.